man, don't you love my job? Woo! Check that baby out. Welcome to Two Guys Garage. We got a great show for you today. We're going to show you how to pick a really nice car for you to hot rod or restore, and we're going to go a monstrous shop. We're going to fly over. This place does all the way from chassis through paint. Stay tuned. It's going to be a really great one. Yeah, look at that, huh?
You gonna drive all day, bud?
You know it. Now, you know when I first started here, 84 Cutlass, that was the first car I drove. Now check me out, 32 Roadster.
You're styling. You know, this is a pretty nice car. We're gonna help you out with a project today, help you plan your project and tell you what you're gonna look at and what you need to look for. You make a decision first. You're gonna do a hot rod, muscle car, or you're gonna restore it.
And be specific. What color do you want? How much of the work can you do yourself?
Right.
What are you looking for exactly?
Right, plan your budget appropriately. This car is all new. Of course, it's got a fiberglass body. It's stretched. The guy's big. He made this custom for himself.
Sure, it's got a three-piece hood.
Right.
So the hood is handmade. It's got a dual opening front end.
Right.
That takes a lot of work.
Independent front suspension with polished control arms and rack and pinion steering, four-wheel disc brakes. Got rear disc brakes and, you know, on the 8-inch or 9-inch Ford in the back.
Oh yeah.
It's a pretty nice car.
Sure, you take this to a professional shop, I would say at least 9 months. Once
Yep.
they have the parts in their hand, at least 9 months before you're getting delivery.
He's got
That's a minimum.
Yeah, and he's probably, yeah, you're right. He's probably got $70,000 or $80,000 in this car. So plan your budget realistically. If you got $25,000, this is too aggressive. We're going to show you how to check out a vehicle, especially if you're going to do something with the original car.
Right.
I got a nice truck inside. Let's take a look.
Cool. To the death. No.
No.
To the pain.
You're going to have to hurt somebody with that, man. This guy needs a termite ladder.
Sorry.
Now here's a truck. This is a barn find. This is the kind of thing you'll find in an old barn someplace.
Maybe in a petrified forest.
Or at a swap meet. Somebody got this sitting on a trailer and you look at it. This is a 50 Chevrolet truck, so it's almost 60 years old.
Sure.
And, you know, fenders are in pretty good shape. Bed's a little rough.
Bed's a lot rough. Bed probably needs to just buy a new one. You can buy them fresh, probably $2,000.
Yeah, well,
you
that's
can get
the
all
good
the wood
part.
for it.
Yep.
You can get the strips for it and get the hardware kit.
When you get high numbers of popular vehicles, you can buy aftermarket beds, you
Sure.
can buy aftermarket running boards, but you want to check it out pretty thoroughly. And again, you got decent front fenders, a decent hood, most of the grill is there, you know, but one of the important things is getting up underneath and checking the chassis.
Check everything.
Right.
I mean, get up underneath, look a whole lot, look for rust spots, repair spots, overlapped welds, any kind of damage you can find, frame damage.
Yep, because if you're going to need a frame, then you're going to start off with immediately $5,000 or $6,000 on the front end, and the project starts going up from there. Now, if you don't know how to do this yourself, it's sitting on a trailer, you get, you know, it's got a visor on it. This is a cool looking truck. Before you get emotional and put your money down, get somebody who knows what they're doing to come with you and look at it, or take it someplace where they do this kind of resto work.
Speaking of those places,
Yep.
let's go check out Flashback Motorworks. You don't think he'd take $5,000 for this '69 427 Camaro, do you?
Look at this car. This car
Got it right there.
This car's worth all of $50,000. But you deserve this. This is nice.
$5,000?
50,000.
50.
Look at it, black, silver.
I don't think I
big,
brought that much.
427,
They finance
425
that?
horsepower. We're here at Flashback Motorworks. Now this is a really neat hot rod and restoration facility.
68,000 square feet of hot rod heaven.
Absolutely. That's more than 2 football fields just in the main building. And they do everything in-house. Paint, body, you know, they do metal work, they do the mechanical stuff, interior. It's a one-stop shop.
This place is gonna be really cool. Let's go.
Now look at this 55 Chevy two-door post car. And of course, it's got beautiful paint, excellent flames on it. I recently saw this car. It was at the World of Wheels in Atlanta. And of course, it took second place. Look at the detail. It's got an absolutely beautiful interior in it. And of course, the detail things like, look at these wind wings, the glasses. It's all etched. That's not a decal, that's actual etching. Got a beautiful interior, nice wheels. Here's a classic car. Now you got a Monte Carlo here. Looks pretty much box stock, very pretty. Next to it, got a white Jag XK150. It's a 1960 model, very rare roadster, beautiful car. Looks like the day it came out of the factory. Now I have no idea what this is, but I can tell you, it's old, it's rare, and it's exotic.
Hey, Sam.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Doing great.
Folks, this is Richard Gossett. He's the owner of Flashback Motorworks. All right, Richard, I'm pretty good, but I don't know what this is.
This is a 1936 Auto Union Wanderer, one of 11 left on the planet.
Wow. That's a pretty exotic car. I mean, it's got a chassis oiler,
It does.
and that's an aluminum engine, 1936, overhead valve. And you have all the body parts and all that kind of stuff?
We do, and we're having the wood portion on the upper frame being redone right now.
I mean, it's got all kinds of detail, even the rear springs wrapped up with leather. Now, this car, it's got running boards, full fenders. Is it sort of like an old SS100 Jag or SK Mercedes?
Yes, I would expect it would be a very exciting drive on the gravel roads in Germany back in the day.
Now, I see you've got a great facility here. You've got plenty of room. You've got a lot of exotic cars. I need a tour. How about that?
That's great. Let's go.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, you're going to see this entire facility, so don't go away.
This segment of Two Guys Garage is brought to you by Motorrad, the manufacturers of the fail-safe thermostat.
Welcome back. Now we got a truck here. We're trying to show you some of the things to look for if you're going to do your own truck hot rod or restoration. Now you look right here, there's a tear in the running board, and that's kind of from some damage that happened there. If you look down the board, you can see it's really wavy. That's going to take a few hours to hammer out. If you're going to do it yourself, not a big deal. Now, another thing to look for is here in the cab corners. This one is actually pretty nice. Anywhere that collects water has a tendency to collect rust. Look at the bottoms of the doors. Goes through the window, wants to collect rust there. Really look at the floorboards, because if you have to replace a floorboard, you're going to spend a lot of money. Now here's an example of something where a guy had to rebuild a whole lot of the car. Check it out. Now this is a place I always feel at home. The metal shop. This is where I spend hours and hours and hours, just like Glenn here, banging sheet metal out. So one of the things you always need to do is be sure you get a really nice car. And what I'm going to do is show you exactly why. Now if you'll take a walk through into this shop here, you can see that what Glenn is doing is replacing all these panels. Now this takes a lot of time and a lot of patience, as Glenn will tell you, any day. Check it, trim it, check it, trim it, in and out, in and out. So as we're walking along, what they've done is they've got it set up on a big flat jig surface. So what happens is, now they know everything is square, everything is held in place, the body is nice and structured, and so that way whenever you go and put new panels on, the deck lid fits good, the hood fits good, everything lines up like it should. Now, if you end up with something like this, at your metal shop that you do, they're going to end up cutting this out. That's not what you want. This is only tacked together, and in between these, moisture is going to come in from the inside, sneak through into the paint. Eventually that will bubble up, and that's a bad repair. All this is bad repair. And if you look at this stuff, I mean, look up under here. It's rusted underneath the trunk. Water doesn't even get there. I'm not even sure how you possibly rust that out. This car even had the bottom of the dash was rusted out. I don't know. I can't figure out how that happens. Once you replace it, if you'll come underneath, you look up under here. Now they've done a lot of reconstruction on this frame. You could also use an aftermarket frame, but they've went back in and replaced all the floor. Now Glenn told me that they actually had 3 floors in this thing. Original floor, another cheap floor put on top of that, and even some fiberglass work on top of that. If you don't have a fiberglass car, there should never be any fiberglass on your floor. So, word to the wise, if you're gonna do a full custom build, if you're gonna do a nice restoration, buy a nice car. Spend the extra $5 grand and get something nice, because 2 weeks of labor at a normal shop by a sheet metal person like this, it's gonna cost you probably $5 grand. So, spend your money on a really nice car.
I just purchased a new vehicle. How can I keep my fuel injector nozzles clean? We'll find out after the break. I just purchased a new vehicle. How can I keep my fuel injector nozzles clean? Add Z-Max to your fuel system and oil every 6,000 miles. Z-Max has the ability to soak into the metal and improve surface lubrication, which helps to keep deposits from building up on your injector nozzles in gasoline and diesel fuel systems. This pre-treat system is also good for all of the components of your engine in order to prevent carbon buildup in the future. This tip is brought to you by Z-Max. Performance you can feel.
Welcome back. We're continuing on looking at our 50 Chevy pickup truck. You know, evaluating this truck, it looks rough, but the cab's pretty solid, the fenders, the hood, the front doors, all solid as can be. Got good floors. Get under here and look at the chassis. I see no major damage. You know going in that, you know, you're going to do this yourself. You're going to replace the drive line, all the steel brake lines and the fuel lines, that kind of stuff. So, and all the parts are available for this truck through the mail order places. So it's going to be a little bit of money and a little bit of time, but it could make a great project, especially if you're emotionally tied to a truck, you know, somebody's in the family or something like that. I'll tell you what, I saw a Studebaker, pretty rare truck. Guy had used all his life in his work. It was given him as a retirement gift, and it was totally restored. Let's take a look and see how that shines now. Richard, this truck is absolutely beautiful. Obviously, it's a total restoration. Did you do this?
Yes, we did, Sam. This is a 1959 Studebaker, 4-speed, 289 V8.
Great.
And we did the interior, the body and paint, and it's been really a fun project.
How long did it take you to do this?
Just under a year.
Wow, and I bet you it was pretty rough when you started.
It was very rusty, plenty of dents, a lot to work with.
You know, it's a great truck though. Look at the detail. Look at the little reveal at the bottom of the door. Look at these mirrors, the way they go into this, looks like a hinge almost on the side of the cowl. It's actually a curved glass windshield, got a huge rear glass, beautiful interior. You know, these trucks were Spartan by today's pickup truck standards, but this truck is just kind of a seafoam green and white. This is really a gorgeous thing. Now, what's with the Arizona Game and Fish?
Well, the original owner worked for Game and Fish, and this was his truck. And the state gave it to him when he retired, so he wanted to restore it, and we've recreated the stickers for him, and it's actually just like it was when he drove it, except the paint's a little bit better than it was.
It's beautiful. I'd love to have this.
Hello down there.
Oh, hold on.
What's going on?
I hear God calling. What are you doing up there, buddy?
Playing.
It seems like it. Be careful up there.
We got
especially with this truck right underneath you.
we have a lot of shop to see. I can see all the shop from here. Let's go. Actually, where's my button here? Hopefully I picked the right one and I don't land on the pickup. Nope, not that one. There we go. All right, come on, let's go. Whoop! Let's go see this place. Hopefully I don't fall in the pickup. This is a nice view up here. Check that out. Come on, Sam, let's go. Don't stand under me.
But you're not going to take me for a ride,
Come on, let's go. How you doing down there, Neil?
Doing just fine.
And Neil's working on a nice Kaiser down there. What year is that?
This is 1954.
54. It's got the doors that like slide into the fenders, which I know you love working on. Those are always a blast.
Absolutely.
You probably got 2 or 3 hours in that. How you doing, Dave?
Hey, not much.
66 442. All right, now we're over here to the metals. Whoa, hey, check that out. 49 Flim convertible, 3 on the tree, 6-cylinder. I used to have the 2-door fastback version of that back in college. Well, that was fun, but my rump's sore. Let's go check out the paint booth. Oh yeah, 57 Nomad. I talked to Mo earlier. He said he was doing this thing, actually a candy brandy wine. You'd think that he was going gold with it, but that's actually a base. And he's doing a candy color, and what happens on a candy, hardly anybody does anymore, but you put down either a gold, silver, or a white base, and then you put what's called a candy color over it. And that's a transparent, can be anything. And what happens, the gold comes up through, the white comes through, and it gives it a different kind of kick and a different color by the light coming through the candy and popping off of the base coat. So eventually he'll come back and actually go back over that with a transparent red. And there's actually another one over here that's over silver. Now, if you look at this 67 Cougar, you can tell now what he did, he based the whole car in silver, and he came back over and he's jammed just the areas that are inside the doors and whatnot with his candy apple red. Now, obviously the other is gold, that's candy brandy wine. This one is candy apple because it's got a silver base. Pretty similar candy that goes over it, but it makes 2 totally different colors. So what he'll do, he based the whole thing, put down the candy and the jams, puts the whole car back together loosely, and then he sprays the candy over the whole car. And the reason he does that is when you get to each panel, if there's any user or spray error in that area, it's very critical a spray pattern when you do the candies, because what happens is you'll end up with dark areas on either side. It won't blend properly, It's a really hard thing to do. This guy's doing 2 at once, which I don't really envy because it's hard to spot repair. It's a really tough job to do, and you really need it. It's not for the guy at home. I mean, this really is something for a professional. So anyway, kind of a cool touch. It's an old technique, it's been done for a long time, but I think it's really cool. So let's take a break right now, and we'll be back.
Welcome back. We're still here at Flashback Motorworks with the owner, Richard Gossett. Now, there's a lot of exotic cars here, one-of-a-kind, or, low-number cars. Tell us about this car right here.
This is a 1954 Kaiser Darren, one of 435, and this is number 161.
Now, these cars were low-number cars, and I remember the doors slide. Just another concept. Instead of having a door flip open and hit the car beside you, bang, you slide the door into the front fender. It kind of goes in and tucks in, so you can step in and out. And, of course, the car's fiberglass. It was kind of a kit car in its day. The 6-cylinder engine, 90 horsepower. It's like a little Willys Jeep motor. And overall, these cars were pretty nice. And they were, in their day, they were pretty fancy. Cost about maybe $3,500 or so. What's this car worth today restored?
Somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000 done well.
Well, now, you can spend some money restoring a car. So when somebody brings you a project like this, what do you do for research?
We contact the clubs, we contact any owners that we can find that have original cars that we could use for patterns, and basically a lot of online research as well.
Okay, and you said you were going to do the interior in this car?
Yes, we are. The interior was put together incorrectly, so we're having to do research right now and figure out exactly where the seams are supposed to be and how to lay it out.
So before somebody gets started in a restoration, they need to talk to a guy like you that knows this kind of stuff and give them good advice.
Absolutely.
Metal guys are crafty dudes. Now, I'm going to show you a couple little cool ideas. Every time I go into a place like this, I'm looking for that next little idea. This is a good idea. He put some 1032 screws into his cart to hold his air tools, so they're always there right next to you. I took and put holes in mine, put T-dollies in there with an Allen head to carry around. This is a really nice cutoff wheel. You won't see these hardly at all. These came from aircraft, and you can find them at salvage sometimes. There are a couple of companies reproducing them again, but they haven't really been around. Most people would take one of these die grinders and attach the cutoff wheel to, but unfortunately they wear out in this bearing eventually. For someone that uses one all the time, like Glenn or myself, this is a really solid way to go. These are some really cool panel clips. These came from air conditioning and heating industry, and they grab the metal. You can bend a flange, you can move your flange around, take spot welded panels and kind of get them in the right place. Real handy as well. So just some cool things I thought you'd like to see.
Wow.
Well, Sam, this is my body shop.
This is huge, and this is separate from the rest of the facility.
It is. By design, we wanted to keep the dust contained.
Yep, that's a good idea. Obviously, 62 Corvette?
62 just came in for restoration.
Wow, it looks like a pretty decent car.
It's a very good car. We've looked underneath. The gaps look good. It doesn't look like it's ever been really molested.
Been stored for a long time.
It
That'll be
has.
a really nice car. Good. This is a great place to go. You got, like, I see you working on all kinds of stuff in here. Got a Corvette. That looks like you're doing a little custom work there.
A lot of custom work on that one.
I see you got that looks like a Sunbeam. Is that an Alpine or a Tiger down there?
That's a Tiger, Sam.
Tiger was a little V8 car. This is all kinds of memories looking at these cars. Folks, when you start to look for a restoration shop for your project, whether it be restoration, hot rod, classic car, whatever, muscle car, find a place like this. It's got brick and mortar, big facility, lots of people so you can get your vehicle in and get it out in a reasonable length of time. Great facility you got here. Frank, thanks for the tour, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sam, anytime.
For more information on anything you've seen on today's show, link to our website through speedtv.com or visit us at twoguysgarage.com.
Yeah, I'm glad you can go up to that shop with me, but I'm going to tell you what, having too much fun in that crane, you embarrass me, man.
Well, you better get used to it. There's going to be a lot of embarrassment flying around here.
Welcome back. Brian and I are here in the parts room. The first thing we've got is from Speedway Motors. It's called their dropout battery box.
Yeah, Speedway has a lot of cool stuff. I use them all the time, and this is a neat thing. In your hot rod, there's always trying to find a weird place to put your battery. You don't want to put it on the firewall. You don't want to put it in some place like that. So this hides it underneath the card. So you put the battery inside, and then what happens is when you flip it like this, whoops.
You got it?
Yeah,
There you go.
the battery slides back up in there.
Right.
And you service it, it comes down, you use it.
Yep. Mount it
There you
on
go.
your frame. And of course, the Speedway designed this box to accept batteries up to 10.5 inches long, 7 inches wide, 8 inches tall, and they're offered in black powder, coated steel, all beautifully polished stainless steel.
This is really nice.
Yep. And in addition to this dropout box, you look in the Speedway catalog, and they have a whole bunch of catalogs. They got great stuff. They offer many other styles of battery boxes and mounts constructed of billet, you know, cast aluminum, steel, even durable plastic. Speedway Motors has got you covered when you're trying to build up your car. Now, here's something that makes your car really neat. You got a custom auto sound radio like USA 5, 6, 66, even the custom auto sound.
Sure.
This is called Digital to Go.
Right. Now what this is a USB or iPod adapter. They have two different ones, and depending on which one you get. So this one is actually the USB. Plug that into your computer. You download your songs. Then you plug it into this little unit. Plugs right into the back of all their radios, just like we said. And you can control it because this plugs into the DIN plug. Actually, you can control all the functions from the unit itself.
Sure, access your playlist, and because it's not FM modulated, you get CD quality sound, and it's a great way to go. It's a nice little product from the boys at Custom Auto Sound.
Very cool.
Now, you know, we use a lot of compressed air in the shop. Every shop you got impact guns, impact wrenches, all the stuff you're using, plumb it right. This is Garage Pack's air piping, and you can see this is aircraft quality aluminum. It's powder coated, it's real slick inside, gives you good airflow, and there's no pipe preparation needed.
Sure. And because it's aluminum, you're not going to get the corrosion that you get with like a copper pipe. It's very easy to cut it, open these up, install it, and if you decide to move and put
Take
your
it with
shop
you.
in a different place, yeah, you take it with you, and it's very easy to do.
Yep, and of course, if you look at these Transair fittings, because you line up the arrows, you just push it together, and it's done. It's an airtight seal.
Piece of cake.
You want to move, you loosen this up a little bit, pull the fitting off, and you can take it with you. And these Transair fittings, they're made of a fiberglass reinforced polyamide. They used it over 200,000 industrial and automotive applications worldwide. It's great stuff. You can put drops wherever you want. They clip into the wall brackets. And this, by the way, 232 PSI, that's pressure rating, and up to 33 CFM, depending on the size of the pipe.
Sure.
And then, of course, you can put vacuum on this, and you can put different gases in it, helium, argon, any of that stuff. It's a great way to go. So when you're going to plumb your shop, remember Garage Pack. All right, well,
I had fun floating around in the air checking out Flashback myself. How about you?
I had a great time up there. A little embarrassing here and there, but I had a great time. Saw some great cars, you know, some great techniques. Hope you learned something about embarking in your project. Don't buy a car that's totally shredded
Buy
unless
a
it's
nice
a one of a
car.
kind, you know, only one in the world. Because the more money, you're going to spend a lot more money having someone like him build you all custom-made panels. And of course, you might want to opt for a kit car where you buy a chassis, a body, put it together, and just personalize it for yourself. What do you think?
I think it was fun. Had a good time.
I had a good time too. We're out of time. We'll see you next time here at Two Guys Garage. Come on, buddy. Let's go for a ride.
Let's go.
You buy. You buy.